Now, the greatest radio shows of all time.
Suspense.
The Shadow Node.
Washington calling David Harding, counter-spy.
Classic radio theater.
The Great Gildersleeve. Fibber McGee and Molly.
Dragnet. Gunsmoke.
The Lone Ranger.
Now, step back into a time machine with your host, Wyatt Cox.
Good evening, friends of the Inner Sanctum.
Comedy and Westerns on this Wednesday, and you know what that means. We'll have Hal March in the summer series Too Many Cooks. Also, Miss Brooks, Our Miss Brooks, starring Eve Arden. We'll also have an episode of Have Gun Will Travel, starring John Dehner, Gunsmoke, starring William Conrad. And we'll wrap it all up with an episode of Blum and Abner. That's what's coming up on this Wednesday. You know what that means. It's the 185th day of the year, 181 days left till we get to 2025. Commander-in-Chief George Washington took command of the Continental Armies at Cambridge, Massachusetts in 1775. The Bank of Savings in New York opened on this date in 1819, the very first saving bank in the U.S. The first state normal school, what they used to call schools that taught teachers in the U.S., the forerunner to today's Framingham State College, opened in Lexington, Massachusetts in 1839. They had 3 students. Now, Dow Jones published its first stock average on this date in 1884. Iowa admitted as the 43rd state of the Union on this date in 1890. The Veterans Administration created by Congress on this date in 1930. And on this date in 1951, the first anniversary of U.S. and UN involvement in Korea, President Truman answered critics who called for the removal of our troops.
The young men in Korea and Japan are fighting for time for us. There's always an emphasis on the casualties in Korea. Of course, when there's fighting, there are casualties. But did it ever occur to you that if this necessity with which we are faced is not met, that the casualties in Korea will be one small drop in a bucket?
President Truman on this date 73 years ago today. Puerto Rico's constitution approved by Congress on this date in 1952. In 1962, Jackie Robinson became the first African American to be inducted into the Baseball Hall of Fame. In 1979, President Carter signed the first directive for secret aid to the opponents of the pro-Soviet regime in Kabul. And in 1986, President Reagan presided over the relighting of the renovated Statue of Liberty.
We are the keepers of the flame of liberty. We hold it high tonight for the world to see, a beacon of hope, a light unto the nations. And so, with joy and celebration, and with a prayer that this lamp shall never be extinguished, I ask that you all join me in this symbolic act of faith, this lighting of Miss Liberty's torch.
The 4-day event called Liberty Weekend celebrated the full restoration of the Statue of Liberty. In 1988, Navy warships USS Vincent shot down Iranian Air Flight 655 over the Persian Gulf. 290 people on board. They all died.
We believe that the cruiser USS Vincennes, while actively engaged with threatening Iranian surface units and protecting itself from what was concluded to be a hostile aircraft, shot down an Iranian airliner over the Straits of Hormuz. The U.S. government deeply regrets this incident.
Admiral William J. Crowe, Jr., the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, saying commanders were being fired upon by units on the ground and that the aircraft was outside the prescribed commercial air corridor. Among those passing away on this date in history, Andy Griffith, Boots Randolph, Joe DeRita, one of the Joes on the Three Stooges, and he also did his stuff as well. Also actor Jim Backus, Thurston Howell III, Mr. Magoo, and did a lot of fun radio work as well. Rudy Valley passing away on this date. Ross Martin, the actor, also from Medical Center, James Daly, and Jim Morrison of The Doors.
Jim was buried in a simple ceremony with only a few friends present. The initial news of his death and funeral was kept quiet, because those of us who knew him intimately and loved him as a person wanted to avoid all the notoriety and circus-like atmosphere that surrounded the deaths of such other rock personalities as Janis Joplin and Jimi Hendrix.
Jim Morrison of the Doors passing away on this date in 1971. Birthdays today include singer Laura Branigan, Heatwaves Johnny Wilder Jr., Fontella Bass, Rescue Me, clarinetist Pete Fountain, What's My Line personality and columnist Dorothy Kilgallen, Czech writer Franz Kafka, and actor, director, singer, and dancer George M. Cohan. Back to Dorothy Kilgallen. Much speculation about how she might have been killed for her investigation on the Kennedy assassination. And we don't know for sure. It is said that it was all accidental. We don't know. But Dorothy Kilgallen, the wife of Dick Calmer, Boston Blackie, and other fine acting jobs. Dorothy Kilgallen, born on this date in 1913.
Hi, this is Jeff Foxworthy. It is now time for the birthday announcements. The following people are now officially older than dirt.
Michael Cole, no, not the pro wrestling guy, but the actor from Mod Squad back in the 60s. Michael Cole is 84 years old today. Writer Dave Barry is 77. From 8 is Enough and Carrie, Betty Buckley is 77. Bailey Quarters on WKRP, Jan Smithers is 75. Country singer Aaron Tippin is 66. Actor Tom Cruise is 62. Lisa Simpson, Yardley Smith, is 60 years old. From Sons of Anarchy, Tommy Flanagan is 59. From Becker and Anger Management, Shawnee Smith is 55. From Private Practice, Audra McDonald is 54. Kimmy from Full House, Andrea Barber, 48. And actress Olivia Munn is 44. Those are just a few of the people who celebrate the 3rd day of July as their birthday. If this happens to be your birthday,
we baked you a birthday cake. If you get a tummy ache and you moan and groan and woe, don't forget we told you so. Happy birthday! Happy birthday!
Make a wish, dear, and blow out the candles.
Here they go.
By the way, that whining noise you may hear in the background, that is our Arctic air. That works very well for us here in northern Nevada because the environment here is very dry, and it works very well. Swamp coolers do work very well in environments such as ours. I looked at some of the others and I said, nah, this ain't going to work. This one does work, and it works very well. So we're staying cool on 90-degree days. And 90-degree days at 6,500 feet are kind of ugly. But then at least it's not Las Vegas, where it is 137 degrees today. We'll get started with an episode of Too Many Cooks starring Hal March, a summer series from 74 years ago, July 3rd, 1950. That's next here on Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox.
Got money to burn? Well, neither has Uncle Sam. The nation cannot afford to let precious timber go up in smoke. As an American, you cannot afford to let a carelessly tossed cigarette start a forest fire that may cost millions of dollars and may even cost human life. Help keep our forest lands green and growing.
Tomorrow we will have our Independence Day show, looking at the shows from the 4th of July many years ago. And we're going to start off 74 years ago will be our feature day with episodes of Life with Luigi and Penny Singleton, both from July 4th, 1950. We'll also have an episode of the WNBC program Anthology, their 4th of July special. We will also have an episode of Columbia Presents Corwin, Home for the 4th, and an episode, of course, of Superman. That's all coming up on our next program. But right now, Hal March in a summer replacement series, Too Many Cooks, a happily married family with 10 kids. And I know, exactly. 74 years ago, July 3rd, 1950. Ghosts.
Hey, Mr. Cook, there's a crowd following you.
I know, and it's my family.
There are just too many cooks.
Yes, it's Too Many Cooks, a new family comedy by Frank Fox, starring Hal March. Shortly after Doug and Carrie Cook were married, Carrie wrote home to her mother in Philadelphia.
Dearest Mother, the doctor says it's going to happen around the middle of next September.
And Doug wrote to his father in Camden, New Jersey.
Dear Pop, I went fishing today and caught a 4-pound trout.
A few years later,
Dear Mother, this makes the third time. This one will be in late July.
Dear Pop, I went fishing today and caught a 4-pound trout.
And a few years after that,
Dear Mother, this makes number 8. The doctor says probably the early part of May.
Dear Pop, I went fishing today and caught a 4-pound trout.
more years passed by. Little Timmy is 7 now, but right before he was born...
Dear Mom, the doctor says maybe next week.
Dear Pop, I've been meaning to tell you. Carrie and I have 9 children with another one coming any day now. P.S. I went fishing today and caught a 4-pound trout.
In the backyard of the cook's house, there's something important going on. A few minutes ago, the 10 cook children brought home 3 bushel baskets filled with apples. Doug and Carrie are now trying to find out where the children got them.
Okay, gang, quiet down.
Quiet, children.
That's better. Now, suppose you tell your mother and me where you got these apples.
Yes, we'd like to know.
We picked them off a tree.
You picked the apples off a tree. Not a very detailed explanation, Dougie.
Pop?
Oh, you have further details, Thomas?
Yeah, it was an apple tree.
Thank you. Very enlightening. What I want to know is, did you steal them?
Yeah, we're the ones who pulled the job.
Me, you're only 7 years old. Stop talking like a gangster.
Don't tell him anymore, you stool pigeon.
Timmy.
You can even beat me with a rubber hose, but I won't talk. I won't talk.
Suppose I paddle you with my hand.
Okay, Copper, I'll talk.
Doug, Laurie, now you two are the oldest. Suppose one of you explains.
Let me explain to him, Laurie. We picked them off the tree down at old Mr. Fowler's place. Yeah, and it wasn't stealing because we only took them from the part of the tree that sticks out over the fence.
Well, Tommy, that sounds very fine, but let me give you a parallel example. Suppose you were walking through a department store and a pair of shorts dropped on the floor. Would you say it wasn't stealing to take those shorts? Would you just walk out with them?
No, Pop. I'd give them back to the poor guy they dropped off of.
Tommy, you're missing your father's point. But, Doug, really, I don't think they meant to steal.
Well,
Pop, the apples were just going to waste.
Well, Gene, if you'd asked old Mr. Fowler, it would be different.
Asked him? Pop, when he came out of the house, we ran like crazy.
I got so scared I ate an apple with a worm in it.
Never mind, Timmy.
It was good.
Timmy! Now, I'm going to think of a good punishment for all of you, and when I do, I'll administer it. I still say you could have asked the old fellow.
But he's an old hermit.
You don't know him, Pop. He lives in that spooky old house 3 blocks down on Germantown Avenue. The house is all run down and the yard's covered with weeds.
Yeah, I've seen the place.
People say it's a haunted house.
Oh, pure Tommy Rats, a haunted house. Well, that's the most ridiculous...
Did you ever go past there at night, Pop?
Yes, I've run by a few times. Hi, Scotty.
Oh, howdy, Doug. What's doing on the other side of my fence today?
Problems, Scotty. The usual thing. My children.
Oh, same old routine.
Mm-hmm.
You know, Doug, sometimes you gripe me, always complaining about your 10 kids.
Oh, I'm sorry.
My one boy, Stewie, is more of a problem than all of your 10 put together.
Bully for Stewie.
Bully.
For Stewie.
Bully.
For Stewie. Scotty, I've got to think of a punishment for my children.
You're not going to top me. Bully. What do they do?
They took some apples from old Mr. Fowler's place.
Bully for apple.
Bully. Bull. Lee, we're even. Let's quit. Now, what's a good punishment, Scott?
Well, now, Doug, old next-door neighbor, I'll tell you. I'm sort of leery about dishing out punishment. I have my hands full with Stewie.
Yeah.
But the thought of trying to punish him. You know what he did when I tried to spank him once?
What?
He started screaming and yelling, scared me half to death. Said if I hit him, he'd call up the SPCA. So I let him have it. And he called the SPCA.
So what? They only protect animals.
Yeah, I know. Stewie got on the phone and told him he was a monkey. Naturally, I shoved him off the phone and told him that I was his father.
What did they say to that?
Well, they said they wouldn't interfere as long as we were both monkeys.
Scotty, do you ever tell the truth?
Sometimes, but I find it awfully dull.
Yeah. Come on, what's a good punishment? I'd spank them, but one at a time. It would take a week.
Well, why not use the buddy system? Get them to beat each other.
No, there's got to be some...
Hi, Doug, Scotty.
Oh, hello, Ed.
Hiya, Baldy.
And, how's my brother today, Doug?
I'm fine, Ed, fine. How are you?
Swell. Just came from the barber shop, and I'm feeling all tingly.
Well, not to be disrespectful to you, Ed, but, what with that observatory dome on top of your head, exactly what do you do at the barber shop?
I just go in, climb in the chair, and have a darn good conversation.
Yeah, I thought so.
But today, I finally experienced the thrill of having my hair cut.
No. How could you do that?
I had them trim around my ankles.
Look, Ed, we're trying to work out a problem of mine.
I know all about it. I just talked to Carrie.
Oh?
Yep. And it's old Uncle Ed, the family fixer, to the rescue.
Ed, you always foul things up. I don't want your help. But thanks just the same.
Always the same attitude with you. Never appreciate anything, do you? Of course, old Uncle Ed was plenty good enough when you needed your phonograph fixed last week. It was all out of whack. It wouldn't play any of the records right. The 33 1/3 RPMs, the 45 RPMs, or the 78 RPMs.
Well, how does it work now, Doug?
Plays all the records at 800 RPM. Lawrence Melchior sounds like a wet finger sliding across a glass-top coffee table. You ever hear a wet finger sliding across a glass-top coffee table?
Sure, but it's a time saver, isn't it?
Yeah.
You put on a stack of 12 records and they'll all finish playing before you get the lid closed. Let me help you, Doug.
You can do me a big favor, Ed, if you'll just forget about helping me.
Okay. Well, I have the solution. So long.
Come back here.
Uh-huh. You're going to listen, huh?
It's the old thing of any port in a storm, Ed.
Doug, my idea has nothing to do with boats.
Oh, Doug, you should be so proud of this fellow. He's even brighter than you've underestimated him to be.
You know, I'm glad I don't understand that. I probably wouldn't like it. Anyway, here's the plan. Tonight, say around 10 o'clock, you make the kids return the apples to Mr. Fowler's porch.
This is your idea of punishment?
Do you know the reputation of Old Man Fowler and his house? Ghosts. Spooks. Believe me, the scare those kids will get when they see those ghosts will fix them for life.
Oh, they're going to see ghosts. Oh, sure, great.
Not so fast. Here's where the plan gets clever.
We've been waiting
patiently.
The three of us dress up in sheets. Get it?
Scotty, huh? I think Ed's really got a great idea.
Yeah, what fun. We all dress up like ghosts. Yeah. The kids will think we're ghosts and really get scared. Naturally, the three of us know there are no such things as real ghosts.
Of course. Well, Ed, congratulations. I'll tell the kids to be there, and we three will assemble at 10 o'clock, okay?
Swell. Only one thing. We better have a password.
Yeah, that's a good... A password?
So the three of us can tell each other from the other ghosts down there.
Sure is dark tonight. Kids should be here pretty soon. You aren't afraid, are you, Ed?
Don't interrupt me, Doug.
Interrupt you? What are you doing?
I'm saying my prayers. Why don't you say yours?
I've already finished. Wonder why Scotty isn't here.
I don't know. Maybe...
Howdy, Spook. I'm sorry, fellas. How you like my sheet? Is my pillow slip showing?
Oh, Scotty, you idiot. I ought to...
Hey, quiet. I think I hear the kids coming.
Yeah, let's hold it down.
Let's get the apples up on the porch and take off fast. Yes, I want to get to bed.
Steady, Scotty, Ed. Let's really surprise them. Don't let your sheets pull off. Shh.
Hiya, Pop.
Hi, Dougie.
Hello, Mr. Scott.
Hello, Dougie.
Hello, Mr. Scott.
Hi, Jane.
Hi, Uncle Ed.
Hi, Tommy.
Come on, gang. Let's get the apples on the porch.
Scotty. Yeah, Doug. Something went wrong?
Oh, come on, you two. Let's scare them.
For goodness sakes, Ed, somehow they found out.
They don't know who we are. When Tommy was talking to my sheet, he was looking at your sheet.
Never mind. The game's up as far as we're concerned. You and your eye. Look, Mr. Fowler's door just opened.
Run, Field!
Hey, fellas, the kids took off.
Well, what are we waiting for? Let's get out of here.
That's right.
I don't blame you, kid.
That's quite a run. I can't run as well as I used to. Just have to lay off that licorice.
You know, I haven't run that fast since the day Stewie pushed me out of my car.
Oh, no. Oh, no.
What's the matter, Doug?
Ed, why did I listen to you? Tomorrow I'll probably land in jail. A prowler. An apple thief.
Well, Doug, just because the kids know us doesn't mean old man Fowler will know who you were.
But he will. I lost my wallet back there.
Your wallet?
Well, what makes you think that he'll know it's you, Doug?
Ed, my driver's license is in there, my social security card, my lodge cards, my personal identification card, my name, my address, my phone number, a full description of me, including my age, weight, height, color of hair, color of eyes, complexion, even my fingerprints. Now, what do you think, Ed?
You're safe, Doug. Just as long as you didn't leave any clues.
I'll go home.
Doug Cook sleeps a worried sleep tonight. He's either having a nightmare or he's got a noisy Charlie horse.
I swear, Your Honor, I am innocent. I did not steal any apples.
We shall see. You must take the apple test.
Anything. What is the apple test?
Well, now here. Take this apple here. Fine. Now take a big bite.
Yes, sir.
Good. Now take another bite. Now here is the test. In 1 second, say, I am not an apple stealer. I thought so. Guilty.
And now it's morning. Breakfast is just about over, and the cooks are sitting looking at each other. Doug eyes each member of his family. He seems to be waiting for something.
All right, all of you. I've waited long enough. You've been holding it back. Go ahead and laugh. You think I made a big fool of myself wearing that sheet and trying to scare you last night, don't you?
No, Pop. Not at all.
No, Pop. I'm too little to hold back.
I thought so. And please, Timmy, don't ever laugh like that again with your mouth full of cornflakes. Laura, you'd better peel them off your face before they harden, dear.
Doug, you're taking this too seriously. I'm sure the children have learned their lesson, so, why carry it any farther?
Carrie, I want to know how they found out about Ed and Scotty and me last night.
We found out through Uncle Ed, Pop.
Oh? What happened? Did you pry it out of him, Tommy?
Yeah, and it was really tough. We asked him where he was going with that sheet under his arm.
Mm-hmm. And how did he try to get out of telling you?
He was very cagey. He said, I'm going down to meet your father and Mr. Scott, and we're going to scare you kids. But don't tell anybody, because it's secret.
Oh, no, that's what I call being real cagey. He might just as well have drawn you a map of where we'd be hiding.
You want to see the map, Pop?
Never mind.
No, children, your father's upset. He lost his wallet down there last night, and he's afraid Mr. Fowler might report him to the police.
That's right. Your father could go to jail.
Don't worry, boss. We'll get you a good mouthpiece.
Timmy, don't talk like
You
that.
gonna pull another job tonight, boss?
Timmy! Carrie, there may still be time. Maybe I can go down there this morning with Scotty. We can search the grounds and maybe find my wallet before Mr. Fowler does.
Can I turn on the radio, Pop?
Sure, Tommy. Go ahead. After all, Carrie, I'm not really guilty of anything.
Well, fine, dear. Fine. You go down and get your wallet.
Sure. How silly can a guy be? Apple stealer.
So today in the state capitol, Palomar Lucas goes to the electric chair. In a review of the interesting, though undesirable career of this criminal, it was disclosed today that Palomar Lucas began his journey on the road of crime as an apple stealer.
Turn it off!
Let's go, Doug. I don't like this place even in the daylight. We've searched everywhere, and your wallet just isn't here.
I'm as bad as that Palomar Lucas, the apple stealer. Maybe I could go away, get myself a hideout. I have a friend who lives way back in Minnesota, a little town called Staples. You ever heard of Staples, Minnesota?
No. You ever hear of Paperclip, Pennsylvania?
Scotty, you aren't trying to help me.
Hi, Pop, Mr. Scott.
Timmy, well, what are you doing here?
I followed you, Pop, because you took something that was mine.
Oh, that. Well, forget it, Timmy.
I want it.
Never mind. Scotty, ignore him.
What'd he take, Timmy?
My Hopalong Cassidy gun.
All right, here it is. I just brought it along for the effect.
Yeah. Doug, you old scaredy cat. I'm surprised you didn't bring his Dick Tracy wristwatch radio.
Pop, roll up your sleeve.
Never mind. Go home, Timmy.
I'll let him alone, Doug. He can't do any harm.
But, Scotty, this house will frighten him.
Not me, boy.
He wants to go home, Scotty.
Not me, boy.
Just looking at that long gray walk and that big black front door is probably scaring him to death.
Not me, boy.
Timmy, how would you like to go up and ask Mr. Fowler for Daddy's wallet?
Not me, boy.
Hey, you know, that's a great idea. Now, don't be afraid, Timmy. Mr. Scott and your father will be right behind you. Sure. Now, go ahead, you brave little boy, you courageous little warrior. I salute you.
What are you, crazy?
Look, son, just ask him for your daddy's wallet. If you do, I'll give you a dime.
Okay, Pop.
You aren't afraid?
Yeah, but a dime is a dime.
I can't understand it, Scotty.
Neither can I. The door opened and Timmy went inside.
It was 15 minutes ago.
Yeah.
Scotty, I'm worried. We've got to go in and see what's up.
You know, you're right, Doug. There's no telling what that old hermit might do to him. Stewie said that Mr. Fowler has a reputation for catching little boys and grinding them up in little pieces.
That's just Stewie's imagination, grinding them up in little pieces.
Oh, I don't know, Doug. Stewie said that that's what happened to him.
Come on, we're going in that house.
Well, I'll go in with you. But don't let him close the door. I'd hate to spread that keyhole coming out.
Be still.
Steady.
Hi, Pop. Mr. Scott, come on in.
Hello, gentlemen. Come in, please.
Oh, Doug, look, he's got a rope. Timmy, get behind me.
I'll explain the rope, gentlemen. I was just showing Timmy how I plan to make a swing in the backyard.
A swing, Mr. Fowler?
Yes, I've wanted to make a swing for a long time, so all of the children around here could come in my yard and play. But I haven't been able to do it. I'm too old to climb a tree now.
Oh, I'm sorry, Mr. Fowler. We didn't understand.
The children always run when I come out. They think I'm going to chase them. I love them so much. One night I got a shovel and went out in the yard with the idea of digging a little swimming pool for them. Oh, I'm such a failure. My old hands are so weak I couldn't make the shovel break the ground.
Oh, Doug, what can a guy say at a time like this, huh?
Don't ask me.
Mr. Fowler?
Yes, Timmy?
What's under your beard?
Well, just my mouth, Timmy.
Can I see your teeth?
My teeth? Of course, Timmy. Now let me think. Where did I leave them? Oh, yes, they're upstairs.
Gee, you got the kind that come out, huh?
That's right, son.
Boy, you sure are lucky. I got the ones that stay in and you gotta brush them. Ugh.
Oh, gentlemen, I'm so happy that at long last somebody's come to visit me.
Well, doesn't anyone ever come to see you, sir?
Oh, occasionally the full-of-brush man. I do see the Jewel Tea man. I've got the whole kitchen filled with brushes and tea just so those fellas keep coming back to talk to me.
Well, it's really a pleasure to meet you, Mr. Fowler. I'm Mr. Cook, and this is my neighbor, Mr. Scott.
I'm glad to meet you, Mr. Fowler. Just call me Scott.
Oh, fine, Scotty, fine. Just call me Jim.
Oh, Jim.
Oh, I've been so lonesome since my wife passed on many years ago.
Uncle Jim, I ain't got a wife either.
Timmy, please.
Oh, let him alone, Mr. Cook.
Oh, please call me Doug.
Certainly, Doug, certainly. Oh, if my wife could only be here to see Timmy. She wanted a child. So did I.
Well, now, Mr. Fowler, remember, kids are noisy. They break things. Maybe you're lucky.
Oh, you mean that? Would you give little Timmy away?
Not for $100 million.
Pop,
Yes, son?
if I'm worth that much, how about a raise in my allowance?
Sure, son.
Well, I hope Timmy will come over often. And goodness, I would like to have you gentlemen and your families over for dinner tonight, but I couldn't make a suitable dinner. I guess I'll just have to forget all about it.
No. Just a minute, Jim. That's where you're wrong. If you want us over for dinner, you're going to have us over for dinner. Is that right, Scotty?
Oh, you know it. Doug, what are you talking about?
Mr. Fowler wants company for dinner. Your wife and my wife will make a big dinner over here.
Oh, yeah, sure. I see it. Yeah, we can all pitch in and lend a hand.
That's the idea.
Gentlemen.
Sure.
Oh, this sounds wonderful. But there isn't much food in the house. Just tea and brushes.
Well, don't you worry about that, Jim. We'll be over in a little while.
Oh, wonderful. Tell me, Mr. Cook, do you have other children besides little Timmy here?
Oh, yes. Yes, indeed. I have other children.
How many?
Here goes our invitation to dinner.
I'll tell you, Mr. Fowler. I'll be bringing my wife and 10 children.
Your wife and 10 children, Doug?
That's right. Too much for you, Mr. Jim?
Oh, no, it's wonderful. But if you're going to bring all those children, why don't you bring the rest of the parents?
Oh, we've had a marvelous time, Mr. Fowler.
Well, why shouldn't you have, Mrs. Cook? After all that wonderful dinner you and Mrs. Scott made. And Mr. Cook, that wonderful hardtack you made.
Hardtack? I didn't.
Quiet, dear. He's talking about the cake you baked.
Oh, you mean old Ironside?
Say, we have to go out in the kitchen and relieve Helen and Scotty with the dishes pretty soon, dear.
Well, sure, Carrie. Pretty soon. Much later. I'm afraid our children have started the regular after-dinner calisthenics. I better stop them.
Oh, no, Doug. Let the children have fun. What's that old quote? It takes a heap of living to make a house a home?
Well, we have a new version of it, Mr. Fowler. It takes 10 little cooks living in a home to make a house a heap.
Jim, you better let me stop.
No, please. No matter what they break, I don't care. I'd love to hear the noise. And besides, I'm not surprised that they're raising their rumpus.
Well, what do you mean you're not surprised?
Well, I asked them to do it.
You're wonderful, Mr. Fowler.
Thanks, Mrs. Cook. Goodness, you don't know how lucky you both are having 10 children. Oh, how I envy you.
Well, sometimes Doug and I get annoyed with things they do, but times like this that make us realize how really fortunate we've been.
You said it, Carrie. I'm proud to have 10 children. In fact, why stop at 10? I wouldn't mind...
Let's not lose our heads, please. Doug, you forgot the thing you originally came for, your wallet.
I haven't forgotten, Carrie, but how can I ask for it?
By the way, Doug, I've been meaning to tell you. I had prowlers last night.
Huh? Fowler's, Mr. Prowler? Prowler, Mr. Apple Fowler,
Yes, what a wonderful clue I got. One of them dropped his wallet.
Dropped his wallet.
Yes, I'd report him to the police, but I can't find my glasses, and without them, I can't read his name. Here's his wallet.
Let me have it, Mr. Fowler. Thanks.
I'll try and find my glasses.
No, Mr. Fowler. Jim, I'll read the man's name for you. Me, I'll do it.
Fine. Oh, it's very kind of you, Doug. Very kind.
Believe me, Mr. Fowler, this pleasure is all his. Think fast, slippery cook.
What's the criminal's name, Doug?
Let me see. Well, you don't have to worry, Jim. This culprit has already been dealt with by the law.
He has, Doug?
Yeah, sure. In fact, he's been electrocuted.
Really? What was his name, Doug?
The criminal's name was, Palomar Lucas.
Well, goodness sakes.
I think we better go help Scotty and Helen with the dishes.
Yeah. Will you pardon us, Jim?
Oh, sure. Go right ahead. Palomar.
Shall we go to the kitchen, sweetheart?
Right with you, Sam. And that closes the file on the hot apple cake.
Thank goodness.
And now it's bedtime at the home of the Cooks.
Well, we certainly have. We certainly had a wonderful time tonight, didn't we, dear?
Yeah, I'm glad you turned the music off. It's bedtime. You know, Carrie, I can't figure out what happened to that cake I made.
Oh, it was so hard.
I didn't realize how hard it was until Scotty tasted it first and started singing, "If I Knew You Were Coming, I'd Have Baked a Rock."
What did you put in it?
All the usual stuff. Butter, eggs, salt, sugar, 2 pounds of cement.
Whoa.
I know I did something wrong. Yeah, old Mr. Fowler sure is a swell
yes,
guy.
Isn't he nice?
The way he let the children go right ahead and do anything they wanted.
Oh, I was so embarrassed when they broke down the only bed in his house.
Well, we'll get him a new bed tomorrow.
Wonder how he's sleeping.
Okay, I imagine.
All right, children, Uncle Jim's coming.
He's swell, isn't he?
Yes, he is. You comfortable, dear?
Why shouldn't I be? Just because we let Mr. Fowler sleep in our bed? This is very comfortable.
Yes, I guess it is. Real comfortable.
Real comfortable.
You know, to tell you the truth, dear, I am not comfortable.
Neither am I.
Oh.
This is a big bureau. Let's try one of the other drawers.
Silly. Well, maybe it's not too bad here on the floor. We can make a go of it.
Sure,
Oh, phone.
I'll get it. All right. Hello?
Hi, Doug. This is Ed.
Ed, what do you want?
Old Uncle Ed the Fixer is really hunting down your wallet. I slipped in a side window, and right now I'm in old Mr. Fowler's house.
Ed, you nitwit. Mr. Fowler is over here, and so is my wallet.
Oh. Well, anyway, I'm having fun. I think I'll stay and finish what I'm doing.
And just what are you doing?
I'm eating some of the most delicious cake I ever tasted.
You're eating that cake, the one that was on the kitchen table?
Yep, and boy, is it good. Mmm.
Ed, isn't it hard?
Hard? No, sir. It's the softest cake I ever had. Just delicious.
I don't believe it.
Well, if you excuse me, I got to get back for some more cake.
You're going to eat some more?
Yes, sir. I've got the rest of it. Soaking in a bucket of water. Night, Doug.
Good night.
Too Many Cooks is written by Frank Fox and Rick Bullard. This is Roy Rowan speaking for CBS, the Columbia Broadcasting System.
Many thanks to Jerry Hinges, who pulled up that old transcription for us. That episode of the show was originally broadcast on July 3rd, 1950. Too Many Cooks, one of the summer replacement series for the Lux Radio Theater that year. Interestingly enough, I will tell you that the radio critic John Crosby wrote about the show and said, Too Many Cooks isn't a bad little ode to procreation as summer sustainers go. Hal March and Mary Jane Croft, as Douglas and Carrie Cook, somehow contrived to convey the impression that 10 children can be fun, though of course expensive. The kids are reasonably engaging, but it's pretty hard to differentiate one from the other. Their attitude toward their parents is one of long-suffering tolerance, which is just so fashionable on the radio right now. The parents in radio comedies are always just a little dumber than their younger child. Too Many Cooks, starring Hal March and Mary Jane Croft, as it was broadcast on this date 74 years ago. Coming up next, Eve Arden as our Miss Brooks.
Do you know how old the school building in your community is? If it's over 25 years old, the chances are that it's woefully inadequate. Join with the groups in your community working for better school conditions. Remember, better schools build a stronger America.
We roll on this Wednesday edition of Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox and an episode of Our Miss Brooks starring Eve Arden from 75 years ago, July 3rd, 1949.
Palmolive Soap, your beauty hope, and Luster Cream Shampoo for soft, glamorous, caressable hair bring you Our Miss Brooks starring Eve Arden. When the 4th of July weekend arrived at Madison High Summer School, it was welcomed most enthusiastically by our Miss Brooks, who teaches English there.
I don't know why I looked forward to such a brief holiday with such keen anticipation. I like my work, and I'm very fond of my pupils. Then there's the school principal, Mr. Osgood Conklin. Well, what do you know? I just found out why I look forward to such a brief holiday with such keen anticipation. Mr. Conklin and I never have been what the scientists call chemical affinities. But last week we really reached the ultimate in mutual harassment. I would hesitate to describe Mr. Conklin's temper as volcanic, but by last Thursday I would swear I saw a thin trickle of lava flowing out of his ears. I was telling my landlady, Mrs. Davis, about it Friday morning at breakfast. He hasn't been this irritable since last month when I broke his new glasses.
My goodness, Connie, how did you do that?
It was an accident, Mrs. Davis. They broke when we both bent down at the same time.
You both bent down?
Yes, to pick up a hammer I had dropped on his foot.
Osgood is certainly hard to get along with. Oh, Connie, did you say you wanted tea or coffee this morning?
I said I wanted milk, Mrs. Davis.
Oh, of course you did. I'm getting so absent-minded lately. Almost as bad as my sister Angela.
How is Angela, Mrs. Davis?
Angela?
Your sister.
Oh. She's terribly absent-minded, poor dear. Why, the other morning, do you know what she did?
No, what?
She found herself with one foot in the bathtub and one foot out of the bathtub.
Well, there's nothing absent-minded about that. It happens to most of us, sooner or later.
But Angela couldn't remember whether she was just getting into the tub or whether she was just getting out.
Well, that is the dilemma. What did she do?
She let the water out and took a shower. Now, I'd better get you that hot chocolate you wanted.
It's milk, Mrs. Davis, and it's right here on the table. Can I pour some for you?
Oh, no, thanks, Connie. I never drink milk in the morning. It keeps me up all day.
Maybe we should have gone on talking about Mr. Conklin.
Say, that reminds me, Connie. How's Mr. Conklin been treating you lately?
You should have seen him yesterday when I stopped in at his office to get my check.
Was he very disagreeable, Connie?
Not at first. That's what's so confusing. When I sat down to sign for the check, he was extremely civil to me, almost courteous. And then in a few seconds, boom, his whole attitude changed.
But why?
That's what I'd like to know. You think I spilled that bottle of ink on his coat purposely?
Oh, Connie, not a bottle of ink.
I couldn't help it, Mrs. Davis, and I tried my best to get out the spots.
With what?
With spot remover, of course. Or at least I thought it was spot remover. It isn't my fault that Mr. Conklin keeps ammonia in his desk, is it?
Ammonia? But, Connie, ammonia will just burn right through the cloth.
Please, Mrs. Davis, you sound just like Mr. Conklin. But I won't be running into him for the next few days, thank goodness. I'm going away for the July 4th weekend.
But, Connie, can you afford to go away?
On my salary, I can't afford to stay home. But I've made up my mind to do it if I have to go without lunch for a week. And guess where I'm going, Mrs. Davis?
Where?
To Eagle Springs. And guess what bashful scientist is going to get the surprise of his life because he's going there too and doesn't know I'm coming?
It's not Mr. Boynton.
It ain't Al Einstein. Now, if you'll excuse me, Mrs. Davis, I'll get ready for school. Walter Denton should be picking me up pretty soon.
Oh, I'm sorry, Connie, but there's something I forgot to tell you. Walter called while you were in the shower and said he can't pick you up this morning.
Oh, great. And my car won't budge.
What's the matter with it, Connie?
I don't know exactly. Last time I went out to the garage to look at it, it was lying on its side, panting.
Walter said he hoped you'd understand, but he had to drive Mr. Conklin to the doctor's this morning.
The doctor's? Why, that's a shame. I wonder what's wrong with poor Mr. Conklin.
Well, Osgood, I can't seem to find anything radically wrong with your physical condition, outside of a slightly elevated blood pressure, that is.
What is my blood pressure, Dr. Haney?
Oh, nothing to worry about, Osgood. Around 180, I'd say. Of course, if it gets to 200, I'd advise you to sell.
If there's one thing I've always wanted, it's a comical physician. Now tell me, Doctor, what's wrong with me?
Well, I can't discover any physical symptoms, Osgood, but there's no doubt about it. Something seems to be troubling you mentally. Now, what is it?
It isn't a what, it's a who. And what a who. Even when we're not together, I can still see her face before me.
But Osgood, who is this woman?
It's Miss Brooks, Doctor. She teaches English at Madison.
It seems to me, Osgood, if Miss Brooks grates on your nerves so much, you shouldn't let her cross your path. Avoid contact with her whenever possible. As a matter of fact, I recommend that you leave town for a few days.
That's it. I'll do it. I'll go away for the 4th of July weekend. But where?
Oh, it doesn't matter where. Do your world of good to get away for a few days. Say, now, maybe I can help you.
You?
Why, sure. I know the squaw in charge of reservations on the Chief. Oh.
It will be good to get away.
Hello, Miss Brooks. You're just the person I wanted to see.
Good morning, Harriet. What can I do for you?
It's Daddy, Miss Brooks. I'm real worried about him. Last night he cried out in his sleep several times. Mother had to keep waking him up, and once in his sleep he screamed out your name.
My name?
Yes. That's when Mother had to tie him to the bed.
I think I can explain your father's nocturnal penchant for screaming my name, Harriet. We've spent the better part of this week exchanging unpleasantries.
Then Daddy did have words with you?
Harriet, your daddy had words that I wouldn't repeat in front of a sailor.
He was extremely nervous this morning when Walter Denton drove him to the doctor's.
Well, I hope his doctor has a good doctor. Now, if you'll excuse me, Harriet, I'll run along to class.
Just a minute, Miss Brooks. Here's Daddy now.
Oh, good morning, Harriet. Well, the doctor says there's nothing wrong with me physically at all.
I knew it. You look better already.
Thank you, my dear.
Good morning, Mr. Conklin. He just took a turn for the worse.
Good morning, Miss Brooks. So far. I'd better get into my office now. I'll see you later, Harriet.
All right, Daddy. But what's the umbrella for?
It looked like rain when I left for the doctor's. Oh, by the way, it's a rather sturdy umbrella, Miss Brooks. Care to whack me over the head with it to start off the day?
Oh, of course not, Mr. Conklin.
You're sure now?
I'll take a rain check. I'm positive. Oh, hold still a minute, Mr. Conklin. There's a thread hanging from the lapel of your coat. I'll pull it out for you.
You needn't bother.
It's no bother. I'll pull it out in just a second. There, that does it. No, there seems to be more. Hold still, please.
I'm waiting, Miss Brooks.
I'm pulling, Mr. Conklin.
His lapel looks all right, Miss Brooks.
Oh, I'm getting it now. This a new suit, Mr. Conklin?
Yes, it is. No doubt you remember my old suit, Miss Brooks. The one with the ink spots.
Ink spots? How in the world did you get... Oh, that one.
Yes, that one. I thought you'd like to know that I cleaned Walter Denton's windshield with it this morning.
Well, it certainly needed it. I mean, I'm sorry about your suit, Mr. Conklin, but say, this is funny. There doesn't seem to be any end to this thread.
So I see. Miss Brooks, would you be good enough to give me the ball of thread you're holding in your hand? I'll have another lapel sewn on.
Oh, forgive me, Mr. Conklin. I didn't realize
My brand new suit. 2 pairs of pants and 1 lapel. Let me in that office immediately. Step aside, Harry.
But, Daddy! Daddy seems quite annoyed at you this morning, doesn't he, Miss Brooks?
I think so. In fact, there's an old Eskimo saying that describes his feelings toward me perfectly. It goes, Pulikamu konakrio exo.
What does that mean?
Baby, it's cold outside.
Our Miss Brooks, starring Eve Arden, will continue in just a moment. But first, here is Vern Smith. Here's wonderful news, ladies. Wonderful, wonderful news. Now there's something thrillingly new in Palmolive Soap's famous Beauty Lather. Yes, something thrillingly new. Palmolive's famous Beauty Lather now brings you new fragrance, new charm, new allure.
Millions of women will prefer Beauty Lather Palmolive over all other leading toilet soaps the minute they try it. For Palmolive Soap's famous Beauty Lather now has a new, clean, flower-fresh fragrance. For new allure, new charm.
So, ladies, forget all other beauty care and use Palmolive soap the way doctors advised for a lovelier complexion. Just stop improper cleansing and instead wash your face with Palmolive soap 3 times a day, massaging Palmolive's wonderful Beauty Lather onto your skin for 60 seconds each time to get its full beautifying effect. Then rinse. That's all. All types of skin, young, older, oily, respond to it quickly. Don't wait another day to try Palmolive's Beauty Lather. You'll be thrilled by its new fragrance, new charm, new allure. Thrilled again by the fresher, brighter complexion doctors prove may soon be yours.
For new loveliness all over, use big bath-size Palmolive in tub or shower.
Well, I had no further encounters with Mr. Conklin during my first class, and while waiting for another session to begin, I was bolstered by the thought that I'd soon be on my way to Eagle Springs for the 4th of July weekend. While I was marking some composition papers, Walter Denton returned from the errand I'd sent him on.
Excuse me, Miss Brooks, but I'm back.
Did you get me a ticket to Eagle Springs, Walter?
Sure, Miss Brooks, but first I told Mr. Boynton I was going to the railroad station on an errand, and then I volunteered to pick up his ticket to Eagle Springs for him. And when he gave me the money, I just added what you'd given me and bought 2 tickets. Seats 208 and 209 in the parlor car. Right smack up against each other.
Why, Walter Denton, where did you ever get such a diabolical scheme?
From you. Now, don't you remember, Miss Brooks? You laid the whole thing out for me.
Never mind, Walter. Are you sure the seats are together?
Positive. And it was a lucky break I got any seats at all. The trains are sure crowded for this 4th of July weekend. Gosh, the station was alive with travelers.
Those are the best kind. Now, look, Walter. You have got to promise me you won't mention my trip to a soul. I don't want Mr. Boynton to know I'm going to Eagle Springs until he sits down next to me on that train.
You have my word as a gentleman and a scholar.
I've just read your composition. Your word as a gentleman will do.
No, all kidding aside, Miss Brooks, how did you like my composition? Great baseball yarn, isn't it?
Frankly, Walter, it's a little hard for me to judge. I know how crazy you are about baseball. I'd like to be fair in marking your composition, but, well, this time you've really got me stumped.
But why?
Maybe it's because the first 6 pages contain nothing but the American League box scores.
I just put that in to make it more dramatic.
Well, some of it is pretty exciting at that. I remember one very eloquent phrase that keeps recurring in the story. Had me right on the edge of my seat. Let me find it. Oh, here it is. Coleman to Sternweiss to Phillips.
That's a famous double play combination. You know, on the Yankees.
Oh, Yankees, of course. The northern team. Now, you'd better be getting on to your next class.
Yeah, okay, Miss Brooks. Oh, before I go, is there anything I can do for you while you're out of town?
Yes, Walter. Come to think of it, there is something you can do. You'll probably be seeing a lot of Harriet Conklin over the weekend, won't you?
That's for sure.
Well, you can do me this one big favor. Whenever Mr. Conklin's in the vicinity, please don't mention my name.
When Mr. Conklin's in the vicinity, I'm usually not. He hates me, you know.
You're not the only one. But just don't talk about me when he's around. I'm hoping he'll cool down a bit while I'm away. Oh, there's that pesky fly again. He's been in here all morning.
I'll be darned if I'd hang around summer school all day if I was a fly.
Maybe he needs the credits. Hand me that fly swatter, Walter. Thanks.
Oh, he lit over here on the door, Miss Brooks. I'll open it and let him fly out.
No, don't, Walter. He looks like a germ carrier. I think I've got a good bead on the little pest. Here goes.
Fortunately, I get my glasses wholesale.
Mr. Conklin.
And now that you've warmed up, Miss Brooks, how about trying the umbrella?
It was an accident, Mr. Conklin. Miss Brooks didn't mean to hit you. She was after that other pest. I mean, the fly.
Well, if it isn't Walter Denton. I've hit the jackpot this time.
Oh, please, Mr. Conklin, if you'll just sit down a minute.
Yeah, Mr. Conklin, just have a seat. I'll gather your glasses for you.
Yes. Oh, Denton.
Yes, sir?
Get out!
Yes, sir! That is, yes, sir.
Miss Brooks, the reason I came in here was to inform you, as I have the other members of the faculty, that I'm going away for a while.
Away? For how long, Mr. Conklin?
Well, this morning I planned on staying away for just 3 days. But then, when you siphoned off one of my lapels, I decided to make it 4 or 5. And just now, when you flogged me with that fly swatter, I realized I'll need at least a week.
Mr. Conklin, I won't deny that a series of extremely unfortunate incidents have occurred.
How very broad-minded of you. Well, there won't be any more of them for me, at least not for the next week. I always thought I was a man of more than average courage, Miss Brooks, but I've discovered recently that I'm not.
Please, Mr.
It's true. It's true. I am a coward, Miss Brooks. But be that as it may, I am determined to live long enough to be an old coward. Hence, I am about to flee the city.
But where are you going, Mr. Conklin?
I don't know yet. I've called the railroad station, but their trains are all jammed with 4th of July weekenders. However...
Yes, I know. It's very crowded on almost all the trains.
I haven't finished talking, Miss Brooks. I was about to say, however, I'm going to try the airport this afternoon. Maybe I can get a plane for somewhere. Oh, that's a very annoying fly.
Oh, I've got the swatter, Mr. Conklin. I'll get it this time. You just sit still.
No, I'll get out of this seat if you don't mind.
You got up, Mr. Conklin.
As I was saying, Miss Brooks, I'll go to the airport. If I can't get a plane from somewhere, I may fly somewhere without a plane!
Class, it only requires a little concentration to avoid embarrassing mistakes in conversation. We'll take up next the works of Lord Byron. That's all for now. Class dismissed, and have a nice weekend.
Oh, excuse me, Miss Brooks. Could I see you for a minute?
Why, Mr. Boynton, you may see me for longer than that. Come in, won't you?
I just wanted to say goodbye, Miss Brooks.
Oh? Going somewhere?
Yes. Walter Denton just got me a ticket on the 4:15 to Eagle Springs. I'm going to spend the 4th of July weekend up there.
How nice for you, Mr. Boynton. It should do you a world of good.
Yes, I really need the rest. I've been working pretty hard lately. Still, I want you to know I'll miss our regular Friday afternoon date, Miss Brooks.
I don't see why. That was a pretty tiresome crowd we were running around with.
Miss Brooks, we went to the zoo on Fridays.
That's what I mean. Every week, the same old hairy faces.
Well, It does a man good to get away from town every so often. Gives him a chance to think things out. Commune with nature, as it were. You know, I like to get next to Mother Nature once in a while.
Now, isn't that funny? I feel the same way about Father Nature. That is, I'm sure you'll have a lovely time, Mr. Boynton.
I knew you'd understand, Miss Brooks. Walter got me a seat in the parlor car. They usually come in twos, you know.
Do they?
Yes, I hope someone nice sits next to me. It's quite a long trip, and a friendly traveling companion can make the time pass much more pleasantly.
I'm sure you'll draw the doll of the world.
No, not me. Just my luck. I'll probably wind up alongside some big fat dunce.
Do not. I mean, it's silly to even speculate about your train partner, Mr. Boynton. Forget it for now.
If only he has a good sense of humor. I remember the last trip I took to New York. On my way back, I sat right next to George S. Kaufman, the famous playwright.
Really? How was his sense of humor?
You'd be surprised. It wasn't so good. I told him one of my best gags, too. You know the one where I make my shoes squeak on purpose? Well, when Kaufman asked me if they were new shoes, I said, shoes nothing. Those are my Blue Jay corn plasters chirping. now, you know that's funny.
It's a scream. How did Mr. Kaufman react?
He took 2 Alka-Seltzers and went to sleep.
Probably jealous because he didn't make it up.
Well, I guess I better be leaving now, Miss Brooks. I've still got to say goodbye to Mr. Conklin.
Well, whatever you do, don't mention my name to him. This is one of my bad days.
Miss Brooks, you shouldn't fight with Mr. Conklin.
I'm not fighting with him, Mr. Boynton. Why, Mr. Conklin would be the first to admit that we'd get along splendidly together if it weren't for just one thing.
What's that?
Me.
Come in.
Oh, I just dropped in to say goodbye, Mr. Conklin.
Oh, sit down a minute, Boynton. I'm just getting some information from the Travel Bureau. What did you say the name of that train was again? The Snake Eyes Limited? No, I'm afraid I don't care to go as far as Las Vegas. Goodbye. Now then, you were saying?
Just goodbye, Mr. Conklin. I'm going up to Eagle Springs for the weekend.
Eagle Springs? But you won't be able to get a train ticket. I've tried every which way to get out of this town. It's just impossible.
Oh, not for me, it isn't. I've got my ticket right here. Seat 209 in the parlor car on the 415.
Let's see that ticket, Boynton. Mm-hmm.
Well, I'll be running along now, if you don't mind.
Just a moment, Boynton. Boynton, I've always looked upon you as one of the outstanding members of Madison's faculty. Not just as a teacher, mind, although you're one of the best.
Oh, thank you, Mr. Conklin.
But also as a human being. You, Boynton, are the type of chap who would never let anyone down.
Oh, gosh, Mr. Conklin.
That's why I know you'll sell me that ticket and postpone your own vacation.
Postpone it? But, Mr. Conklin, I can't.
Can't? In the vocabulary of a Madison High School teacher, there is no such word as can't.
Well, then I won't. Oh, I'm sorry, sir, but I've worked very hard for this vacation,
Of course you have, my boy. It was selfish of me to even suggest that you give me your ticket on the train. The fact that I'm on the verge of complete mental breakdown should not sway you in the slightest.
Mental breakdown? Well, I'm sorry to hear that, Mr. Conklin.
Oh, chin up, boy. Wipe that frown from your face. You should be smiling. You're going on a trip. A happy, carefree trip. Forget about me trembling in my stuffy little office. You're on the train, boy. I can see you now, sitting there in that plush parlor car, the sun streaming through the windows. What's this? Conductor is approaching. Tickets? Tickets, please. Where's your ticket?
Here it is.
Thanks, Boynton. I knew you'd come through.
Here you are, miss. Seat 208.
Thank you.
Now, this bag belongs to the gentleman in the next seat. He went back to the smoking car just before we pulled out.
Oh, that's perfect. Now I can really surprise him.
Oh, you know him?
Not as well as I'm going to. That is, we've never been on a vacation together before.
Oh, that's the fellow coming down the aisle there. Oh, yes. He's got adhesive tape on his glasses.
What? Are you sure that's the man who has seat 209?
I'm positive. I parked him here myself.
Oh, Well, if you'll excuse me, I'm going to face the window before he sits down.
What for?
If he sees me before he sits down, he'll fall down.
Oh, I get it. It's a rib. Tickets, please.
205, 207. Ah, here we are, 209. Hi-ho, to Eagle Springs we go. Well, I have a traveling companion. I don't blame you for gazing out the window. Lovely scenery, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Nothing like taking a little trip, eh?
Mm-mm.
I don't mind telling you I was a candidate for the Mayo Clinic before I got on this train, but it's going to be different now. Hi-ho, to Eagle Springs we go, and as we go I sing ho-ho, hi-ho. Hey, look at the sun coming from behind that cloud.
Hmm?
Shining on the window that way, it's beginning to reflect your features. Yes. There are your eyes. Nice eyes. There's your nose. Pretty nose. There's your mouth, your chin. Put them all together, and they add up.
Hi-ho, hi-ho, to the Mayo Clinic we go.
Eve Arden as our Miss Brooks returns in just a moment, but first...
Dream girl, beautiful luster cream girl.
Tonight, yes, tonight, show him how much lovelier your hair can look after a Luster Cream shampoo. Luster Cream, world's finest shampoo. No other shampoo in the world gives you Kay Daumit's magic blend of secret ingredients plus gentle lanolin. Not a soap, not a liquid. Luster Cream shampoo leaves hair 3 ways lovelier. Fragrantly clean, free of loose dandruff, glistening with sheen, soft, manageable. Even in hardest water, Luster Cream lathers instantly. No special rinse needed after a Luster Cream shampoo. So gentle, Luster Cream is wonderful even for children's hair. Tonight, yes, tonight, try Luster Cream shampoo.
Dream girl, beautiful luster cream girl. You owe your crowning glory to a luster cream shampoo.
And now, once again, here is our Miss Brooks.
Well, after I found out the identity of Mr. Boynton's summer replacement on the train, I altered my plans for the weekend. Computing the wind velocity and the rate of speed at which we were traveling, I decided not to get off until the first stop. Then I took the next train back to town. And when I arrived at the depot, I ran right into Walter Denton.
Miss Brooks, what are you doing here? You should be halfway to Eagle Springs by now.
I was, Walter, but I found out that Mr. Boynton isn't going, and I couldn't bear the thought of letting him spend the weekend alone.
Alone? But, Miss Brooks, Mr. Boynton got a last-minute cancellation and left for Eagle Springs 5 minutes ago.
What?
Sure, I drove him down.
Oh, great. Well, there's only one way I can celebrate the holiday now. I'll make an anonymous call to Mr. Conklin on Monday.
An anonymous call?
Yes, Walter. That's the 4th of July, and I'm really going to shoot off my mouth.
Next week, tune into another Our Miss Brooks show brought to you by Palmolive Soap, Your Beauty Hope, and Luster Cream Shampoo for soft, glamorous, caressable hair. Our Miss Brooks, starring Eve Arden, is produced by Larry Burns, written and directed by Al Lewis, with music by Wilbur Hatch.
Here's a money-saving offer, men. A giant tube and a large tube of Palmolive brushless shaving cream for 49 cents. Yes, a 70-cent value for only 49 cents. This offer is made solely to prove you, too, can get smoother, more comfortable shaves the Palmolive brushless way. Just follow directions on the tube and treat your face to wonderful shaves. Yes, for extra shaving comfort at extra low cost, don't miss this Palmolive brushless bargain. At drug and toilet goods counters, get both giant and large size Palmolive brushless. A 70-cent value for only 49 cents.
Last year, forest fires laid waste 30 million acres of America's timberland. This year, only you can keep it from happening again. So when you or your family are camping, motoring in, or even near a forest area, remember these 4 rules. 1, crush out, completely out, all cigarette, cigar, and pipe ashes. 2, break matches in 2 after using. 3, drown all campfires, then stir and drown again. 4, before going near timber, ask fire authorities where campfires or even smoking are permitted. Remember, another 30 million acres will burn this year unless you are careful.
For mystery liberally sprinkled with laughs, listen to Mr. and Mrs. North, the exciting, fun-packed adventures of an amateur detective and his beautiful wife. Tune in Tuesday evening over most of these same stations. And be with us again at this same time next week for another comedy episode of Our Miss Brooks. Bob Lamont speaking. This is CBS, the Columbia Broadcasting System.
"75 years ago, July 3rd, 1949, Our Miss Brooks here on Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox. We'll head back to San Francisco and an episode of Have Gun Will Travel starring John Dehner as Paladin. That's next.
Americans have always been noted for their know-how, and you young men in search of a career, you can put this practical talent to excellent use in one of our nation's many engineering schools. At the present time, we need engineers. We need them to maintain our scientific and engineering superiority. So look to your future, to America's future. Plan now to become an engineer.
Now on Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox, an episode of Have Gun Will Travel going back 64 years to July 3rd, 1960. Dad blamed luck.
If I had used good judgment, I wouldn't have taken this job in the first place. But now that I've come this far, I'm willing to go on just to see what else will happen.
Have Gun Will Travel. Starring Mr. John Dehner as Paladin. San Francisco, 1875. The Carlton Hotel, headquarters of the man called Paladin.
Mr. Paladin! Oh, here you are.
No, hey boy, you're interrupting a very important game.
Oh, you play cards all by yourself?
I play solitaire, all by myself.
Oh, solitaire. This game of luck?
Is game of luck that becomes game of skill. In the proper hands, hey boy.
Whoa, wait a minute. I bet you can't beat it.
Who, may I ask, are you?
Well, I'm the fellow that's willing to bet.
Gentlemen, please. One at a time. Now, if you're determined to interrupt my game, let's do it with as little fuss as possible. Now, hey boy.
Lisa, this gentleman come to desk, Mr. Paladin. Ask if I know who you are. I bring him here to you.
I see. And you, sir?
Well, my name is Howard, Mr. Paladin. Jamie Howard. Howard, say, why don't you ought to play that black 7 on that red 8 you got there.
Well, this particular game has been temporarily suspended, Mr. Howard. At least until I find out just what your business might be.
My business? Well, yeah. Oh, yes. Well, you mean, why do I want to see you?
That's what I mean.
Well, sir, it is about my gold mine. I lost it. Yeah, I heard about you, and I figured maybe you're the man to help me get it back.
You have lost a gold mine?
Well, not exactly. I know where it is, all right. I know where it is, but when I began to hit pay dirt, a feller swindled me out of it and had me run off of my claim.
I see. And just where is this gold mine?
Up back of Columbia, near a place called Yankee Hill.
Columbia? Why, those mines were worked out years ago.
Oh, give you 5 to 1 they weren't. Not all of them. No, sirree. Here, take a look at this.
That's That's gold, all right.
Bet your life it is. That's why they stole her. I snuck back and took these out of the mine after. Figured maybe you wouldn't believe me. Oh, I can pay you all right. I can pay you plenty once I get my mine back.
I see. Mr. Howard, I think you have just made a deal.
Well, good. I'm thankful that you're willing to help.
Well, hey, boy, what do you think?
Oh, Mr. Paladin, why don't you play Black 7 on Red 8 like Mr. Howard say?
Constipation can be a problem for anyone, even doctors. And when constipation occurs, it's interesting to see just what doctors consider important about a laxative they might use or recommend. Well, a majority of the doctors we heard from had this to say.
A laxative should be effective, gentle, close to natural acting. A medicine that can be used with complete confidence.
Now, X-Lax has been popular with many doctors and millions of people over the years because chocolated X-Lax is effective. Overnight, it helps you toward your normal regularity. X-Lax is so gentle, so close to natural acting, there's no upset. That's why many doctors and millions of people use X-Lax with complete confidence. X-Lax, the laxative that helps you toward your normal regularity, gently, overnight.
We got an early start the next morning. Early, but not altogether bright. At least not for grizzled old Mr. Howard. He looked like he'd spent the night taking in the sights of San Francisco. I'd seen his type before. Prospectors in from the hills looking strangely out of place among the gaslights and horse cars of a modern city. We had a long ride ahead of us, and I saw to it we covered as much ground as possible. Howard didn't have much to say until about noon, when we pulled up alongside a little stream to let our horses drink.
Oh, my doggy. I'm right glad to rest a spell, Paladin.
The horses are, too, Mr. Howard. If we're going to reach Columbia, we can't run them into the ground.
You know, Hey, you hear that?
Oh, hear what?
Hey, that bird. I'll give you 3-1. That's a Papa Robin bringing some food home for the young'un.
You will, huh?
Yeah, you want to bet?
Nope. You better save your gold, Mr. Howard. You might need it.
Yeah. I meant to talk to you about that.
About what, Mr. Howard?
Well, about that gold. I don't have it anymore.
You don't have it? Well, Mr. Howard, there must have been close to $700 worth of gold in that pouch you showed me last night. How could you have gone through that in one evening?
Well, sure, now I'll tell you. I'll tell you. I met this feller, and we got to talking about poker. You know, I decided to play a little, and the first thing I knew, he had it, and I didn't.
Mr. Howard, I ought to turn around right now.
No, don't you worry none. Don't worry. There's plenty more where that come from. As soon as you get my mine back for me, we'll be rich, both of us.
But just how much ore do you think there is in your mine?
Well, it's hard to say, but should take out 600,000-700,000 worth easy. I bet you.
Mr. Howard, you're quite a betting man, aren't you?
Well, sure. Does a fella good to do a little gambling now and then. Makes life interesting. Makes it interesting. That's how I found all them other ones, taking a gamble where others wouldn't.
That's how you found all the other what?
Why, all the other mine. Why, son, I've been through 4 or 5 fortunes for this one. But, well, I'm getting older now, and that's why I'm hanging on to this one.
Yeah. Well, we better move on. Come on, boy.
Come on.
Mr. Howard, how long has it been since the country around Columbia saw its last big boom?
Oh, about 10, 12 years, I guess. Of course, there's still a few of us around. Figured that there was still a strike to be made, and I proved it.
Well, then tell me, isn't there still a sheriff in Columbia?
Oh, sure there is. Farrell's his name.
What did he say when you told him about being forced off your claim?
When I told him?
Yeah.
Sure, I didn't have to tell him. He already knew.
He did?
Oh, sure. He was the one that run me off.
He was the... Oh.
Yep.
Oh, boy. Mr. Howard, did you say the sheriff ran you off your claim?
Well, now, wait a minute now, Paladin. Say, wait just a minute. I guess I should have told you. Sheriff Farrell, he is in cahoots with the other one.
What other one?
Why, the other Farrell, the one that runs the Miners' Friend Saloon up there. You couple of dirty, black-hearted scoundrels.
They're related?
Well, sure. Sheriff's a brother to the other.
Well, all right, Mr. Howard. I don't know why, but I'm willing to go through with this just to see what happens.
Oh, thanks, Paladin. It's just one other thing.
Oh, something more you haven't told me.
Well, it's just that I've been thinking about this Mr. Howard business. Would you mind just calling me Jamie? Everybody else does.
Okay. Jamie, it's a deal.
I don't know, Paladin. Might be we shouldn't have rode right into town like this. Right down the main street and all.
You just let me worry about that, Jamie.
Yeah, but suppose somebody sees us.
Jamie, I want them to see us.
All right, you two.
Yeah. What'd I tell you? That's the sheriff.
Oh?
Yeah, just get them hands up and turn around, slow and easy. Drop your gun belt right where you be.
Now, just a minute. Is this the way you welcome a visitor to town?
Visitor? I don't consider no partner of Jamie's a visitor. You better do as I say.
All right.
That's good. Now, Jamie, I told you once, get them hands up.
Sheriff, why are you doing this? From what I hear, you've already run him off his claim. Isn't that enough?
And that was then. Now I'm arresting a pair of horse thieves.
Horse thieves?
That there was another little thing I guess I should have told you, Paladin. This here horse, it belongs to the sheriff.
But, Jamie, why would you steal the sheriff's horse?
Why? Well, everybody knows it's the best one in town. If I'd have taken any other horse, they'd have caught me before I got 5 miles away.
That's enough talk. You just start walking. I'm taking you to jail. Both of you.
So long!
Have a nice trip.
Don't forget to phone.
Wherever you go this summer, go first by long distance.
Excuse me, can you tell me where the Conleys live?
Yes, in the White House at the end of the block, on the right. But I'm not sure they're home.
Oh, we called them long distance. They're expecting us. Thank you.
A long-distance call to friends you plan to visit this summer makes good sense. It will save you driving miles and miles, then finding no one at home. Call ahead to make sure of reservations, too. Wherever you go, go first by long distance. Rates are low. Why not call now?
Oh, Shaw. I'm sorry about all this, Mr. Paladin.
You should be, Jamie.
Yeah, but I'm not worried none. No, sirree.
You're not?
No. I figure you for a man that can get us out of here pronto.
Yeah, well, thanks for the vote of confidence.
Well, anything I can do to help, just let me know.
No, I think you've done just about enough, Jamie.
Well, it isn't like I really stole the sheriff's horse, you know. I brung her back, didn't I? He's got her tied up in the stable out and back right now, ain't he?
Yeah, you may have a point there, Jamie. Sheriff? Hey, Sheriff! Come here! Sheriff!
All right, stop that noise. I'll have you know I run a peaceable jail.
Sheriff, I think maybe we can make a deal.
The only deal you'll be making's with a rope. After a fair trial, of course. Horse thievery's a hanging offense in these parts.
Listen to me for a minute. In a way, you're responsible for all this. Did you or did you not run Jamie off his claim?
Oh, sure I did. It was my legal duty. That's what I'm paid to do as sheriff. But that didn't give him no right to take up horse stealing.
No, wait a minute. You have your horse back, don't you?
Sure, after I caught the thief.
But you didn't catch him. Jamie brought the horse back of his own accord.
Well...
That meant that you were without the use of your horse for 6 days, right?
5 days.
Now, $10 a day seems like a fair rental. Supposing you had rented your horse to Jamie.
But I didn't. He stole her from right in front of the jail.
I said supposing. Now, 5 days at $10 a day is $50. Now, if Jamie paid you that and threw in an extra 10, wouldn't you be, well, willing to call it square?
Oh, well, now, that might put a different picture on it. It'd cost $10 to have someone build a gallows anyhow.
Jamie.
Eh?
Pay the sheriff his $60.
Pay? Oh, well, Paladin, I ain't got $60. Like I told you, I lost my gold in San Francisco, but once I get my mine back...
Of course, I guess I could use you prisoners to build the gallows yourself.
Hold it, Sheriff. I've got $60. It's in my saddlebag.
Hey, this is a mighty nice room. Oh, I didn't know this hotel was so nice.
All right now, Jamie. Before we go any further, I want you to know something. I've got $60 invested in you. If it weren't for that, I'd turn around and walk out that door right now.
Oh, don't you worry about that, Paladin. You'll get your money back. Yeah, and plenty more, once I get my mine back.
Listen, Jamie, just what is the true story? The sheriff said it wasn't yours.
Oh, it's them Farrells. It's them Farrells. They're all alike. The sheriff and the other one that runs the saloon with them crooked games.
What crooked games?
Why, them card games with the crooked dealing. Oh, I've seen that dealer slipping cards off the bottom of the deck. I know. Yeah, and then when they found out from the man at the essay office just how rich my strike really was...
That's how you lost your mind? In a crooked card game?
That is how I had it stolen. They made me sign it over to them, and then the sheriff come around and run me off. Yeah, that's why I come for you to get it back for me.
But, Jamie, if you knew the card game was crooked, why did you get in it?
Why did I get it? Well, now, that is a silly question. 'Cause there ain't no other place around here to gamble. That's why.
Somehow I had to get away from Jamie Howard. I went downstairs and started to walk up Main Street, and then I noticed across the street the Miner's Friend Saloon, F. Farrell, proprietor. I decided to talk to Mr. Farrell about those card games of his.
Well, hello there. Haven't seen you around here before.
No, I'm afraid you haven't.
Well, let's make up for lost time. How about a drink?
Later, maybe. I'm here on business.
Oh, well, maybe I can help you.
You can. You can just tell me where I can find Mr. Farrell.
Mr. Farrell?
Well, the man who runs this place. The man whose name is on the sign out front. And just what is so funny?
There isn't any Mr. Farrell here. I'm the owner of this place, and my name's Floss Farrell.
Oh.
Now, you wanted to talk business?
Yes, I did. My name is Paladin, Miss Farrell.
So?
I'm here to represent Jamie Howard.
Well, Jamie, I haven't seen him around for a while. He's been living kind of high since he struck it rich, hasn't he?
But that's all over now, isn't it?
Just what do you mean?
I mean, he's no longer living so high since you took his mine from him in your card game here.
Oh, not me, mister. I don't run any game. I lease the gambling concession to Bill Hargety.
Uh-huh. Where would I find him?
Back at the poker table. He's the fella dealing, the big fella.
And now, here are Edgar Bergen and Charlie McCarthy.
Charlie, where have you been?
Well, it's a long story, Bergen. Remember, you said you wanted the car lubricated.
I said I wanted a Guardian maintenance lubrication. Like all Chevrolets, Pontiacs, Oldsmobiles, Buicks, Cadillacs, and Chevy and GMC trucks, our car deserves the best of service. And that means Guardian maintenance at our dealer service department.
Yes, well, I drove our car to our dealers without an accident.
Oh?
Most of the way.
Charlie, where's the car now?
It's on Main Street between 4th and 5th.
Is it closer to 4th or 5th?
It's all the way from 4th to 5th.
All right, young man, you're going to get it now.
I'm only kidding, Bergen. It's just a scratched fender. Our dealers' GM trained mechanics have already got it looking like new again. It's part of their quality appearance service. Shall I still meet you in the woodshed?
You drove the car without permission. It's the woodshed. And I'll see you there as soon as I phone the dealer.
Well, take your time. If you're not there in 10 minutes, I'll start without you.
I took a seat in the poker game Bill Hargety was dealing and watched him work. He didn't look like the typical card sharp. He was big enough to scare most men by his size alone. And the livid scar along his left cheek didn't do anything to gentle his appearance. But he didn't need all that. He had a gambler's hands, and the cards came out of the deck for him like they were trained. Off the top, And off the bottom, too.
Well, that's too bad, boys. Seems as though luck just isn't running your way tonight. Deal you in again, Mr. Paladin?
Yes, Mr. Hargitay, if you don't mind. I have a hunch my luck may change this hand.
Well, that's the way to think, all right.
All right. Yes, sir.
There you are.
All right. I think I'll just open for 50.
50, huh? Well, I'll match that and raise you 100.
Ooh, I'm out. That's too rich for me.
Me too.
How about it, Paladin? You still in?
Still in, Mr. Hargitay.
Cards?
No. I think I'll have just as much luck with these as any of you might slip me off the bottom of the deck.
What are you saying, mister?
I was just wondering if that was how you managed to win Jamie Howard's mind from him.
You accusing me of cheating?
You've been dealing cards off the bottom ever since I sat down at this table.
I'm not wearing a gun, Paladin. And if you were...
Well, I'll be happy to leave mine right here on the table, Mr. Hargitay. There. Now?
No!
God, you got him, Paladin. Yeah, you got him good.
Jamie, where'd you come from?
Didn't think I was going to miss the fun, did you?
You were right about the game. It was crooked. Let me have that beer, will you?
Yeah.
All right, Hargitay, you want any more?
No, I had enough.
Where's the deed to Jamie's mine?
My pocket.
There you are, Jamie. While Hargitay had the deed, he was within his legal rights to have Sheriff Farrell run you off the claim. I'll see that he signs it back over to you.
I'll take that paper if you don't mind, Mr. Paladin.
You what?
Yeah. Might as well give it to her.
What's this all about?
Well, Paladin, I'll tell you now.
You'll tell me what?
What he's trying to say, Mr. Paladin. I offered him 10,000 cash against his mine that you'd win the fight.
And you bet against me?
Well, Paladin, that was an awful good bet. And look at the size of him laying there.
Jamie.
Huh? Well, now, don't you worry none about your money.
Jamie.
You'll get it just as soon as I find me another mine.
Jamie. No, I give up. Yeah? Who is it?
Oh, is it Mr. Wong, Mr. Paladin? Bring coffee.
That's a pleasant thought.
Strong, hot coffee, good to wake you up in morning, yes?
Ooh, Miss Wong, this coffee is strong and hot enough to wake up old Rip Van Winkle.
Oh, friend of yours, Mr. Wrinkle, Mr. Paladin?
Just an acquaintance, Miss Wong.
Oh, hey, boy, say you get back late last night.
Very late.
Oh, hope trip very fortunate and lady luck right by your side.
Miss Wong, the luck that rode by my side was far from being a lady.
Pepsi-Cola refreshes without filling. Why? Because it's truly light.
Charlie, you're forgetting something.
Wait, Kay, there's more. Yes, ice-cold Pepsi is the delicious refreshment that goes great at a picnic or a party.
But, Charlie...
And Pepsi goes fast. People like it, so keep plenty handy. There.
Oh, you did fine, except for one thing.
Well, I mentioned lightness and how Pepsi refreshes and how fast it goes.
You left out Pepsi sociability. You know the Be Sociable song.
But, Kay, I can't sing.
I can. Listen.
Be sociable, look smart, keep up to date with
Pepsi. Drink light, refreshing Pepsi. Stay young and fair and debonair. Be sociable, have a Pepsi.
Well, at least I can say this. Pick up an extra carton of Pepsi today.
Please do.
Have Gun Will Travel. Created by Herb Meadow and Sam Rolfe, is produced and directed in Hollywood by Frank Paris and stars John Dehner as Paladin, with Ben Wright as Hayboy and Virginia Gregg as Miss Wong. Tonight's story was specially written for Have Gun Will Travel by Gene Webster. Featured in the cast were Forrest Lewis, Barney Phillips, Virginia Christine, and Jack Moyles. This is Hugh Douglas inviting you to join us again next week when CBS Radio presents Have Gun Will Travel.
Dad Blame Luck, an episode of Have Gun Will Travel from 64 years ago, July 3rd, 1960. Visit our webpage at classicradio.stream. We'll roll back 6 years for an episode of Gunsmoke up next.
Ladies and gentlemen, the chief hope of our enemies is to divide the United States along racial and religious lines and thereby conquer us. Let's not spread prejudice. A divided America is a weak America. Through our behavior, we encourage the respect of our children and make them better neighbors to all races and religions. Remind them that being good neighbors has helped make our country great and kept her free. Thank you.
And now on Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox, we go back 70 years to July 3rd, 1954, an episode of Gunsmoke and the Word of Honor.
Around Dodge City and in the territory on West, there's just one way to handle the killers and the spoilers, and that's with a U.S. Marshal and the smell of gun smoke. Gunsmoke, starring William Conrad. The transcribed story of the violence that moved west with young America. The story of a man who moved with it. Matt Dillon, United States Marshal.
Mr. Dillon. He's just plain vanished.
And there's no note anywhere, Chester?
No, sir, nothing. I looked again, all over.
Well, it's 2 days now. That isn't like Doc.
I still think he's just gone off on an emergency out in the country somewhere.
Well, maybe, but he's always left word before.
Well, what'll we do, Mr. Dillon?
I don't know. Might start asking people, Chester. Try the saloons and the store and maybe the depot, huh?
All right, sir. I'll go right now. Well, I do declare.
What?
Riding right up Front Street as big as life.
What? Why, that old devil.
Well, you sure are a sight for sore eyes, Doc. Where in the world have you been, anyway?
Hello, Chester.
Matt?
Oh, you had us worried, Doc.
Oh, that's so?
Well, you've been gone 2 days.
I know. Next time, leave word, Doc. I will. I surely will.
If I can.
Well, it sure would save us a lot of
Wait a
doggone
minute.
running
What do you mean, Doc, if you can?
Just that. If they let me, I'll leave word.
Come on inside, huh? Okay, Doc, I'm curious. You want to tell me about it?
Well, I can tell you part of it, the least important part. I made a promise about the rest. You know how it is, man.
No, but you tell me.
Well, the other night, Wednesday it was, I was peacefully asleep on my couch when a couple of riders tromped right into my office. They said a man was hurt bad on a place out past Fort Dodge. So naturally I got up and went along with them.
Well, then why didn't you leave a note and say so?
They told me not to.
They told you what?
Let him talk, Chester.
Of course, I figured then it must be a shooting. But my job is to take care of everybody, sinner and saved alike. And so when we finally got to this place the next day...
What place?
That's part of what I promised not to tell, Chester.
Oh, my.
But like I was saying, there was a young man there who'd got himself shot in the back. The bullet lodged right in his spine. I dug it out and did all I could for him. And then I just sat there for quite a spell. And then I put my things away and I walked out into the other room. Well, Doc, how is it? I did what I could.
What do you mean?
He's dead. The shock of extracting that bullet was too much for him. It's a bad place, the spine.
You killed him, huh, Doc?
No, I didn't kill him.
He's dead, ain't he?
That boy wouldn't have lived more than a couple of days anyway with that bullet where it was. Whoever put it there murdered him.
Want me to shut him up?
Not yet. Doc, tell me something. You know that boy in there?
I do.
Mm-hmm. The three of us here, you know any of us?
Him? I've seen him around somewheres. Dodge, I guess.
Well, that settles it. He ain't walking out of here.
Shut up. You know his name, Doc?
No, I don't. Might come to me, though. Let me think.
You don't understand, Doc. He wants to kill you already, and now you're trying to remember his name. That's just going to make it worse.
You can't kill a doctor for following his oath.
No. I shot that boy when he tried to get away and shoot you just as easy.
Don't be a fool. I'm a doctor. And since there's nothing more I can do here, I got to be available to other patients. Don't you know I'm the only doctor within 100 miles of Dodge?
Right now, it's one too many.
Now, wait a minute. I'm kind of thinking the doc's right. You know, he ain't like an ordinary man. A doctor's, well, it's almost like he ain't quite human somehow.
He's human enough to tell what he knows to that hard-head marshal they got in Dodge. The way I figured, it's us or the doc.
I'm not interested in what you figure, mister. Right this minute, there may be some woman having a baby and needing me real bad. There may be several folks needing help.
He's right. We can't kill him.
Well, I can't.
You do what I say and nothing else, you hear?
And, Doc, listen to me. If I let you go, will you promise not to tell her about anybody you recognized here?
And if I don't?
And, doctor or no doctor, I'll kill you myself.
Yes, I suppose you would. All right, I'm here as a doctor, and nothing else. I promise.
Word of honor, Doc.
My word of honor.
Okay, get out.
That's quite a story, Doc.
Oh, you played it right smart if you ask me. Who were they, Doc?
But I only recognize one of them, Chester, besides the man they'd shot.
Have you thought of his name yet?
Chester, don't you understand? I gave my word I wouldn't tell.
Oh, but that was just so you could get away.
Yes, but still I gave my word. It doesn't matter how or why.
But, Doc, they're just a bunch of killers.
I know.
Leave him alone, Chester.
But I don't... Yes, sir?
Matt?
Yeah.
Wouldn't you do the same if you were in my boots?
That'd be a hard choice, Doc, but... Yeah, I suppose I wouldn't.
I think any man would. Leastwise, any man of honor.
I guess I wasn't really thinking about it that way.
Well, I'm going to get myself some sleep. Matt? That was a good boy they murdered. I hope they hang for it. God bless them.
How are we ever going to find him, Mr. John?
I don't know, Chester. We don't even know who they killed.
And just think, Doc could lead us straight to him right now.
It isn't making the doc happy, Chester.
No, sir, it sure isn't.
Sincerely, Matt Dillon. U.S.
Marshal?
Jake Worth. Why, you haven't come to Dodge in 6 months that I know of.
I'm here now, Marshal.
Oh? Trouble, Jake?
I'd call it that.
Well?
You know that cottonwood? Big one down at Brandy Bend?
Yeah.
There's a hole down by the roots of the north side of it, Marshal. I put a sack in that hole this morning. It's got $20,000 in it.
20? Well, that's a lot of money, Jake, even for you.
It isn't if Hank gets back all right.
Hank? Well, that's your youngest boy, isn't it?
18 last month. He didn't show up the other night, Marshal, and next morning I found a note tacked on the corral. Said to leave the money or they'd kill him.
Well, come on, Jake. We'll try to get there before they pick up the money.
No, Marshal, I won't take any chances. They'd shoot him sure if we did that.
You should have told me before you left the money. You should have come here first.
You didn't hear what I said, Marshal. I won't take the chance. All I want now is for you to watch for anybody who turns up rich around here.
Jake, listen to me.
You listen to me, Marshal. Nobody's going to do a thing till Hank's back safe on the ranch. Not one dang thing.
Jake, if they killed Hank, you'd want him hung, wouldn't you?
I'll hang him myself if it comes to that.
All right, then let's go. Let's get down to Brandy Bend and wait for him.
No, I already told you no.
Jake! I think Hank's dead.
You what?
I think they've already shot him, and he's dead.
What are you talking about? Where is he?
I don't know.
And how come you think he's dead?
Well, I can't tell you.
Marshal, I've had about enough of this.
Look, we're wasting time here. Come on, Jake. I'll tell you what I can on the way to the river.
You better, by heaven, or one of us ain't never going to get to the river.
Jake Worth was known as a hard, hot-tempered man, but he was straight as they come. He'd made one fortune in Texas cattle and another in buffalo hides, and now all he wanted was his ranch and his 3 sons to work it with him. The Worths were good men. They didn't cause any trouble, and they worked hard. It wasn't easy to tell Jake, but without mentioning Doc, I said what I could. And when we reached the Arkansas, we hid our horses in a clump of bushes and worked our way on foot up to the big cottonwood. And then we saw it.
That's him. That's Hank.
Yeah, I'm afraid so, Jake.
Yeah. They killed him. They killed him all right. He was a good boy. Had his whole life to live yet. Why'd they do it? I gave them the money. Why'd they do it?
I'm sorry, Jake.
Marshal, I want the truth now, every bit of it.
Well, that's all I know, Jake. Hank tried to break, and one of them shot him. But we'll get him.
I'll take care of myself as soon as you tell me who they are.
I don't know who they are.
Don't lie to me, Marshal. You know a lot you're not telling me.
I've told you all I can.
That's
Jake.
my boy lying there, Marshal. He's been murdered, and if I didn't know you so well, I'd begin to think maybe you had something to do with it yourself.
Easy now, Jake.
Then why don't you tell me?
Because the man who told me about it had to promise not to name anybody. That's why.
What man? Who is he? I'll get it out of him if I have to cut it out.
I know. That's why I can't tell you who he is.
What kind of a lawman are you, anyway?
I've told you all I can, Jake.
No. No, you haven't. Marshal, I don't believe your story about nobody promising nothing. You know who done it. You're going to tell me. I'm giving you 24 hours to name those men. And me and my boys are coming to Dodge. There'll be blood spilt, Marshal.
Jake, I give you my word, I don't know who did it.
I don't believe you.
I'll help you take your boy home now.
Go on back to Dodge. I'll manage here.
You're making a bad mistake, Jake.
24 hours, Marshal.
I'll be there.
We'll find you, wherever you'll be.
Jake, So long, Jake.
Ladies and gentlemen, at the conclusion of tonight's show, our star, William Conrad, steps out of the character of Matt Dillon to bring you an announcement which we are certain will be of great interest to all our listeners. So be sure to listen at the close of tonight's program for a special message from William Conrad. And now the second act of Gunsmoke.
There was no use arguing with him. The man's grief had destroyed his reason. And the worst of it was, I knew his sons would do whatever Jake told them to do. Unless I could stop it somehow, I'd have to shoot it out with 3 good and perfectly innocent men. And for no reason at all. I thought about it all the way back to Dodge. And by the time I got there, I had an idea. I went up to Doc's and I talked it over with him.
All right, Matt. I'll do whatever I can.
Well, it might not work, Doc. And you'll be exposing yourself to a lot of danger. Have you thought about that?
I have. And I've also been thinking about the men who killed Hank Worth.
Well, we could wait till they start spending their money, or till one of them gets drunk and maybe talks too much somewhere.
Yes, we could, but meantime, you and the Worths will have a gunfight. Oh, and that'd be a terrible thing to let happen.
All right, then, Doc, let's go. I want to get to the ranch before dark.
You know, Matt, I haven't been out here since Mrs. Worth died. It must be 4 or 5 years now. Place sure has changed.
Yeah. I don't see anybody around, do you?
Well, maybe they saw us first. Maybe they hid out.
Yeah, maybe.
That's far enough, Marshal. Watch him, boys. If he makes a move, shoot.
Yes, Jake?
Jake, I came here to stop a shooting, not to start one.
You can stop it, Marshal. Just tell me who killed my son.
If I knew, I'd be on his trail, Jake.
What's Doc doing here, anyway?
Tell him, Doc.
I took the bullet out of Hank just before he died.
What?
That's right, Jake. Now come down here where we can talk like friends, and I'll explain it.
Stay where you are, boys. All right, Doc, let's hear it.
Well, they got me out of bed, Jake, and they led me out into the country. Hank had been shot in the back, and I extracted the bullet. But it was no use. He'd have died anyway. There were 3 men there, and I recognized one of them.
Who was he?
I had to promise I wouldn't tell, Jake, or they'd have killed me.
That don't matter now.
Think about it, Jake. Doc gave him his word, and you're asking him to break it. Now think about it for a minute.
I'm thinking, and I'm thinking about my boy, too.
Hank's dead, Jake. We can't help him.
Shot in the back, and the coward who did it's running free.
You want to help get him, Jake?
Don't ask fool questions, Marshal. Of course I want to get him.
All right, then listen to me. Those men told Doc if he talked, they'd kill him.
Yes, and they meant it, too.
All right, so I got an idea, Jake. We'll spread it around that Doc has identified the killer. The news will reach him soon enough. And meantime, I'll lay low and have Chester tell everybody I've ridden out after them.
Go on.
Then we'll just wait. 1 or 2 or maybe all 3 of them will come into Dodge to kill Doc some night soon.
I still might get away.
I'll deputize you and your boys right now, and you can wait for them with us. But you're going to have to stay hidden, like me.
Well, we won't mind that. Not if we get a chance at them, we won't.
Good.
Funny thing, though.
What?
Man like Doc here Rather than break his word, he'll make himself a target for those killers?
Yeah. Look, Jake, Doc and I are going to go back to Dodge now. I'll see that the story gets started. And in a day or two, you and your boys can ride in, but separately, though. Otherwise, it might cause talk.
I understand.
And come straight to Doc's.
We'll get there.
For the next few days, Doc never left his office. I figured that'd make him look scared and draw the killers right into his place. The rest of us sat around in his back room and waited. Chester kept us supplied with food and coffee. And on the sixth night, about midnight, we got our game.
Mr. Dillon, I think it's Sam.
What?
They just rode up Front Street, 3 of them. They're tying up outside right now. They acted too deliberate like for ordinary riders, so I run up the back way to tell you.
Good. Doc, come on in here, huh?
What do you want me to do, Mac?
Take cover in here and stay out of sight, huh?
Whatever you say, Mac.
Let's go downstairs and meet them, Marshal.
No, we might just scatter them that way, Jake. Now listen. One of them will probably stand guard on the street while the other two come up here to get Doc. Chester, you and the two boys go down the back way. Jake and I'll wait in Doc's office. Now, don't jump that man until we go into action up here. You understand?
Yes, sir, I got it.
All right, then move and move fast. All right, come on, Jake.
Now what?
Well, we'll just wait here in the dark.
Good.
I'm gonna bunch up Doc's blanket on the couch here so that they'll think he's in it. What?
They're on the stairs now.
All right, get back in the corner, Jake, or we'll be shooting each other.
Yeah.
Now, quiet. And don't start shooting till I do.
Doc, wake up, you lying dog. Let's just shoot him and get out of here. Wait, he ain't here.
What? Get your hands up. You're
It's
under
a
arrest.
trap.
Both of you. You all right, Jake?
Yeah, I got one of them. I'm all right.
Doc, come on out. They're dead. Light the lamp, will you, Doc?
All right. You okay, Mr. Dillon?
Yeah, come on in, Chester.
Oh, we got him. He tried to get away when he heard the shooting up here, but he run smack into one of the Worth boys. He's dead.
Bring the lamp over here, Doc. No, I don't know either one of these men. Now, Doc, you can tell us now, is one of these the man you recognized?
This one here. I remembered later I treated him for a broken nose some time back. I never did know his name. He came up the trail with a herd, I think.
Yeah. Doc, will you take care of things?
Sure, man.
Well, Jake?
Marshal, me and the boys will be getting back to the ranch now.
Sure.
Marshal,
What, Jake?
I doubted you. I'm sorry for that.
Oh, forget it.
No, it's best I remembered. A man shouldn't make mistakes like that.
Well, there was no harm done. The way it worked out.
I'll buy you a drink before we leave, Marshal.
I think I'd like that, Jake. Come on, let's go.
Now, a special announcement. Here is our star, William Conrad.
Thank you, George. You know, I believe this is the first time I've ever set aside the character of Matt Dillon to speak to you. But this is important to all of us here on the show, and I hope it will seem so to you. Starting next week, Gunsmoke will come to you at a new time, on a new day, sponsored by Chesterfield Cigarettes. Chester, Doc, Kitty, and I, together with all of our strong-minded, brawling, hard-living citizens of Dodge, who will come to you next Monday, July the 5th. So from now on, that's when you'll hear Gunsmoke, on Mondays. And we'd like to think that all of our listeners will find time this coming Monday night, July the 5th, to tune in to their local CBS radio station for Gunsmoke. Until then, good night.
Gunsmoke, transcribed under the direction of Norman Macdonald, stars William Conrad as Matt Dillon, U.S. Marshal. Tonight's story was specially written for Gunsmoke by John Meston, with music composed and conducted by Rex Corey. Featured in the cast were John Dehner, Lawrence Dobkin, and Harry Bartell. Parley Bear is Chester, and Howard McNear is Doc. Join us again Monday, July 5th, as Matt Dillon, U.S. Marshal, fights to bring law and order out of the wild violence of the West in Gunsmoke. George Walsh speaking. For the top tunes of rural America, hear Saturday Night Country Style every week on the CBS Radio Network.
And there you have it. 70 years ago, July 3rd, 1954, Gunsmoke on Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox. Coming up for our 4th of July Independence Day show, we'll have Life with Luigi, Penny Singleton, Anthology, Columbia Presents Corwin, and Superman. And then coming up the next couple of days, we'll have Father Knows Best with an Independence Day show. Fibber and Molly, Dean and Jerry, and The Life of Riley. We'll also have Called the Police, Freedom USA, Suspense, Barry Craig Confidential Investigator, and of course, Claudia. But coming up next, here on Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox, Lum and Abner.
Keep your guard up. That's the key slogan of the 1950 National Guard recruiting drive, and it's a slogan as timely as today's headlines. More than ever before, America stands prepared, and the National Guard must recruit approximately 220,000 men as soon as possible. By joining the National Guard, young men will have the advantage of choosing their own unit and preparing themselves for promotion by being in a job for which they are best qualified. Investigate the National Guard now. Help America to keep up its guard.
And we wrap up this Wednesday Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox with an episode of Lum and Abner. This goes back 82 years to July 3rd, 1942.
The makers of Alka-Seltzer bring you Lum and Abner. Folks, now that delightful summer weather is the rule rather than the exception, I know most of you listeners are happy to get out of doors whenever you can, to enjoy yourselves at a family picnic, pitching horseshoes, or playing a round of golf, Well, here's a suggestion that may help you get more enjoyment out of those few precious hours you have for rest and relaxation. It's just this. Always keep a package of Alka-Seltzer tablets handy. Now, many's the time you'll be glad you did, because when a headache, a minor stomach upset, or muscular aches and pains happen along to spoil the best of plans, why, with Alka-Seltzer on your medicine shelf or in your suitcase, you're prepared to help yourself to prompt and pleasant relief in any or all of these bothersome little ailments. So remember to take along a package of friendly, dependable Alka-Seltzer tablets wherever you go this summer. Get a package from your druggist right away, for you never know how soon you'll want them. And now, let's see what's going on down in Pine Ridge. Well, one more day has rolled around with no news about Abner's missing wife and daughter. The old fellows have checked the railroad and bus stations at the county seat. They've consulted the police. In fact, they've followed every clue they've been able to dig up. But nowhere can they find any information about Elizabeth and little Pearl. As we look in on the little community today, we find Abner in the Jot 'em Down store and library. Lum is just entering. Listen.
Abner! Hey, Abner, looky here.
Huh?
It's a letter for you.
A letter?
Yeah, just now picked it up at the post office.
I dog it. Who's it for?
I just told you it's for you.
Who's it from?
Well, I reckon it's from your brother-in-law, Ed. The postmark says Texas, and it ain't Elizabeth's writing.
Texas? I dog it. That's him, all right. Well, hurry up, Lum. Open it up. Read it to me. Read it, Lum.
Here, you read it. It's your letter, not mine.
Oh, well, I can't read at a time like this. Go ahead now. Read it for me, Lum, please.
I'll read it for you.
Yeah, go ahead. Read it. Now, find out where Elizabeth's at. Yeah, I'm going to tell her to come right back home. Fact says, I believe I'll do it right now. Where's some writing paper? I'm going to answer that letter.
Well, wait a minute. Wait till you hear the letter before you answer it. You don't know what it says yet.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, hurry up, read it, Lum. Read it.
That's what I'm trying to do if you just catch up for a minute.
Go on.
Dear Abner.
Yeah. Huh?
That's how it starts out. Dear Abner.
Oh, well, that's it, all right. That's the way he always starts out. I start mine different to him, though. I say, Dear Ed. That's what I say.
Dear Abner, received your letter telling us that Elizabeth and little Pearl was coming here to visit us.
Well?
However, we must have misunderstood your letter because so far they have not arrived.
Not arrived? Why, they've had plenty of time to get there.
We have met every train for the last 3 days, but have not saw them.
Well, he don't have to meet every train. Just the passengers will be enough. I don't think they're going on a freight.
Please write and tell us when they will be here.
Well, Lum, do you reckon something could have happened to them on their way down there?
Well, no, not necessary. More than likely went somewhere else, that's all.
Somewheres else?
Why, sure. There's lots of other places they could have went to, you know.
Where?
Well, I don't know. It's what we got to find out.
Oh.
You oughtn't have told Ed that Elizabeth and Pearl was definite coming to his place, Abner.
Well, that's where Elizabeth always goes again. She wants to make a trip summers long.
I've told you 1,000 or 100 times before you oughtn't to jump at conclusions that way, Abner.
Yeah, I know.
You're going to have your brother-in-law going down to the depot, meeting every train that comes into Texas from now on. He'll more than likely have to give up his job to do it, and then he'll go broke, and pretty soon his whole family will starve to death.
Oh, well, Lum, I never meant to do all that.
Well, don't worry. It won't go that far, I don't think.
Won't, huh?
I'm just giving you an example to show you what this conclusion jumping of yours can lead to.
Yeah.
Here, let me finish reading your letter.
Oh, is there some more to it?
Yeah, this might give us more information.
Yeah, sure.
Where was I at? Oh, yeah. We are all fine here. I went hog wild the other day, and for Emmy's birthday...
That's his woman, Emmy.
Uh-huh. And for Emmy's birthday, I bought her a second-hand washing machine.
He always was wonderful for fancy gadgets.
Emmy likes it just fine.
Well,
Opal is
that's
doing...
his oldest daughter, Opal. Yeah.
Opal is doing canteen work for the Army boys and likes it just fine.
Well, bless her heart. Bless her little heart.
Aunt Ione has went to work in a defense plant near here as a riveter.
Riveter? Yeah.
She says she likes it just fine.
Ah.
Her birthday is next week, so if you think of it, you might send her a nice pair of overalls.
What size?
It don't say.
Oh.
Well, must close now. Everything here is just fine. Everything's fine, ain't it?
Well, that's fine. Yeah, everything's always fine with Ed. Never had a sad day in his life, I don't reckon.
Write soon and tell us when to expect Elizabeth and Pearl. Wish you could come along with them, but know you have to stay there and keep the old nose to the grindstone. Ha ha.
What are you laughing about, Lum?
Ed laughed.
Oh.
I mean, he put it in a letter.
Oh, he
Says-
thinks he said something funny there.
Oh.
He's a joshing sort of a feller.
So it says ha ha right here. He must
Yeah.
have thought it's funny.
Oh, that's him. He always laughs at his own jokes, you know.
Hope everything there is just fine. Yours truly, Ed. Well, Ed writes a nice letter, Abner.
Yeah, but he never told me where Elizabeth is, though.
Well, at least we know now that she ain't there.
No.
So that illuminates your brother-in-law's place. And means we got to start looking everywhere else we can think of.
Well, I don't know no place else to start
Well, I
looking.
do know. Whose car's that out there?
Huh?
Over there across the street.
Oh.
Never seen that car around Pine Ridge before.
Don't believe I have neither.
It's stopping out there.
I Dogus, wait a minute. You don't reckon that's Elizabeth and she's went and bought herself an automobile, do you, Lum?
Of course not. Where would she get the money to buy something like that?
Well, maybe she earned it summers. I don't know. She might be a riveter like Anna Owen. Maybe Anna Owen got her in that defense plant down there in Texas.
Oh, she couldn't have did that. She ain't even got her priorities.
Man, you never can tell, though. I expect I better get Elizabeth a pair of them overalls, too, while I'm doing it. Let's see, I believe she'd take about, 34s ought to fit her just about right.
Wait a minute, Abner. Elizabeth couldn't be working in no defense plant in Texas because she ain't even in Texas. We know that for sure.
Yeah, that's right. All right, Dogus, look here. Ain't that a woman getting out of the car there?
Yeah, it is, ain't
Yeah,
it?
see, what'd I tell you? What'd I tell you?
Wait a minute, though, Abner. That ain't Elizabeth.
Oh, yes, it
Look
is.
how she's dressed.
Huh?
Elizabeth ain't got no clothes like that, them furs, no.
Well, more likely she might have bought herself some new ones, then, Lum. I know Elizabeth's coming back sure to her. She's coming back, Lum.
Abner, now, don't get yourself so worked up because that ain't Elizabeth.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
I can see better than you can, and that ain't her. Just take a good look out there now.
Yes. And, Doggy, you know, I don't believe that does much look like her,
Well,
Lum.
of course not. Look there, she's carrying a young'un in her arms.
Oh, she is, ain't she? Well, I know that ain't little Pearl she's carrying, 'cause she's a heap bigger than that. Fact is, she can come closer to carrying Elizabeth than Elizabeth can to carrying her.
Find out, Abner. Here she comes.
Oh, yeah.
Now, try to recollect your manners now and act polite.
Yeah.
Say how they do, ma'am, and please excuse me, please, Mom, and all.
What have I did?
Well, if you do something.
Oh. I'll be glad.
That's it. Well, how do you do, Mom?
How do you do, ma'am?
Hello. Goodness, I've had a hard time finding your place.
Oh, was you looking for us, Mom?
You are Mr. Edwards and Mr. Peabody, aren't you?
Elizabeth never sent you, did she?
I beg your pardon?
Never mind him, miss. What was you wanted to see us about?
Why, I want to send a... No, darling, don't cry. Mama's right here with you.
Sure, cute little feller you got there.
It's been so fussy today. It's awfully hard traveling with a baby.
Yeah, I reckon it is.
Well, what I wanted was to send a money order.
Money order?
Yes, this is the post office, isn't it?
Oh, no, Mom. The post office is across the street there.
Yeah, over in Dick Huddleston's store. He runs it.
Oh, dear, I can't seem to get anything right today. It's across the street, you say.
Yes, Mom.
Well, I guess I better go over and... Oh, say, would you do me a favor?
Why, sure. Be proud to do anything we can, Mom.
Well, I hate to ask you this, but would you mind watching the baby for me? It'll just take me a second to get the money order.
Why, we'd be more than glad to do that for
Why,
you.
sure,
wouldn't we?
yeah.
Let me take the little feller.
Getting so heavy I can hardly carry him anymore.
Come here, you little rascal. Come here to your Uncle Now, don't start that.
He won't cry much. I'll be right back.
But just take your time. He'll be all right with us.
You will take good care of him.
Oh, sure. Don't you worry now. We know all about babies.
Don't worry a minute. You better let me hold him, Mama. No more about this.
No, now.
Well, I can make him stop crying no longer.
Handle him all right. Ain't I, little fella? Yes, I can. Yes, sirree. Yes, sirree. Look at that, Abner. He's smiling at me.
You don't even know how to hold him. Look like you got a sack of potatoes there you're getting ready to weigh up.
Oh, they cut down the old pine tree, and they... Oh, what kind of songs do you sing of it?
Why, you know so much about them. Go ahead.
And they hold it away to the mill to make a coffee of pine for that sweetheart. Oh, look at him, Reverend. Look at him. He's laughing now.
He's just hysterical, that's all. Here, now, let me take him along.
Now, he likes me. Oh, they cut down the old pine tree, and they hauled it away to the mill. He loves that. Look at him, look at him.
You're going to drop him now if you ain't careful now.
To make a coffee of pine for that sweetheart of mine.
Oh, too good, man.
Uh-oh.
What's the matter?
Here, you want to hold him?
Why, sure, yeah, give him here. Yeah, come here, little feller. I know how to hold you. Come here. Oh, they cut down the old pine. Uh-oh. Why didn't you tell me long?
You know more about babies than me.
Well, here, now, you take him back. Look there, he's starting to cry again. He likes you better than me.
No, now, you keep him.
Well, I don't know what to do.
Oh, wait a minute. I'll call his mom over at Dick Huddleston's and tell her to hurry back.
Yeah, that's the thing to do. Tell her to hurry, though, Lord.
I will.
Here, be quiet now. Be quiet, little feller. Here, be quiet now. Be quiet.
Sing that song to him, Abner. He likes that.
Oh, they cut down the old pine tree.
Hello?
And
Is
they
that you, Dick?
hauled it away.
Hello? Just a minute. Abner, quiet down a little. This is Lum. Say, Dick, did I speak to that young lady over there, the one that's getting the money order? Uh-oh. Are you sure, Dick?
Tell her to hurry now.
Yeah, that's the one. That's what she was wearing. You seen her do what? Well, she couldn't have. Her car's parked right over there across the...
Ride you home with
Wait a minute. Abner, look across the street there.
Huh?
The car's gone.
Gone?
Yeah, Dick said he seen her heading out of town.
Oh, my goodness.
Hello, Dick. I gotta hang up now, 'cause me and Abner's just had a baby. I mean, that woman must have went right off and left him. Forgot him.
Well, wasn't that a surprise? And say, speaking of surprises, have you ever experienced the surprisingly prompt, pleasant relief that Alka-Seltzer offers for acid indigestion, sour, upset stomach, or occasional distress after meals? Or if you haven't, you're really missing something. Honestly, you'll just never know how much better Alka-Seltzer can make you feel until you try it. You see, Alka-Seltzer does two things to comfort you. First, it helps reduce excess gastric acidity. And second, it also helps relieve that full, stuffy, uncomfortable feeling that's so often a big part of stomach discomfort. Now, you're in for a really pleasant surprise the very first time you take Alka-Seltzer for relief in minor stomach upsets. Try it. See for yourself why so many other folks refuse any substitute once they've tried Alka-Seltzer. You can get Alka-Seltzer at all drugstores, either by the package or by the glass at the soda fountain. And remember, it's Alka-Seltzer you want.
Well, that wasn't what the boys wanted to find. 82 years ago, July 3rd, 1942, Lum and Abner here on Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox. Visit our webpage, classicradio.stream. We will have an Independence Day show tomorrow with some great stuff and hope you will be with us. For Classic Radio Theater, I'm Wyatt Cox.